He was like a guy who had a very, very restful time. And he came across as being very together and very proud of his community. He had that disestablishment mentality. My art's very important to me. And I sleep it and I live it. And I think that allows me access to all kinds of different people that being part of a system or establishment or institution would prevent me from doing.
I'm Nicola Tallant, and you're listening to Crime World, a podcast about criminals, drugs and the sins of the underworld in Ireland and across the globe. Court sketch artist Mike O'Donnell attended the trial of Gerry The Monk Hutch at the Special Criminal Court last year and was there the day he walked free. But inspired by the craggy face of the veteran criminal and his interesting expressions, the Kerry artist decided to go another step, and his exhibition entitled Released is set to open this week in Tralee. The artist sat with Hutch in the weeks after he was released and was allowed to sketch him further, and today he tells me why he believes his upcoming exhibition will move minds and spirits. This is Crime World, a podcast from SundayWorld.com. You've been working away since I saw you last.
Right.
Yeah, so this is a bit mad. So we met obviously in the Special Criminal Court when Gerry The Monk Hutch was up on trial, and there was very dramatic days during that trial of the witness statements and the evidence of Jonathan Dowdall and various other days. And of course, the day that Gerry The Monk Hutch was found not guilty and walked free, it was very much on our agenda here in Crime World for a long time and all the rest of it. But you were sitting in the courtroom and you were sketching because you're a sketch artist, and you were detailing, because obviously cameras aren't allowed into the courtrooms here in Ireland. So we're reliant on artists who can give us an image of what an individual looks like in the dock and what the courtroom looks like. But I think you found Gerry Hutch a very interesting subject.
Yeah, I did, because for a variety of reasons. I thought he was very distinguished looking in the sense that his lines suited the work that I do. Mm-hmm. And I generally work with ink, so I try not, that kind of ups the stakes for me. So, and he had very dark features, and that impressed me. And then he said to his legal team, and I got that message that he wanted a copy of my work. But in fact, at the time when I was drawing there, Nicola, I wasn't feeling that great, actually. So I was actually septic. And I ended up in hospital for 2 months afterwards.
Oh, right.
From December to February. I just couldn't walk, So I wasn't in the best form, So therefore, the work I was doing, it was okay, but I just wasn't in the best form. And I felt, look, if you asked me, to give him a copy of his work, I'd make sure it was good. So when I came out of hospital, I got back on my feet. I broke my leg afterwards, so it was a bit of a mess last year. Eventually, during the summer, I decided I'd do proper drawings of him, if I could at all. And I made contact with him through an intermediary. And I found myself in his house at the end of the summer into autumn. Mm. So I spent a few hours with him, and that was fairly extraordinary for me, because I didn't expect it to happen, but it did.
An invite into somebody's home is a measure of a certain trust that is built between the individuals. So do you think that began, that sort of... maybe that trust began when you were sitting in the courtroom and you were polite and pleasant to the man in the dock?
I was attracted to the image that I saw and the person that had that image. I thought that was interesting for me. It impressed me. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I hadn't read a whole lot of, and only when I pick up from which is, I suppose, a lot really from Crime World and different publications. But I didn't read the book, that has been written about him. And I'm busy with other stuff,
Yeah.
But I knew he was a huge figure, let's say, mm-hmm. in that whole world. And that was so interesting for me, So I suppose you had to trust me to go into his house, yeah.
Were you nervous that going to the house, and actually sort of trust goes both ways, of course, Mike, doesn't it? Because he had to trust you.
Yeah. I'd say my curiosity was a bit more stronger than trust. Sorry, was I nervous? A little bit, but the work that we do in the courts, like we're meeting people in very, I suppose, difficult circumstances, and to go into somebody's house was very nice. And in fact, we're very comfortable with each other, and I brought him apple tart. We call apple tart in Tralee, but to some Dingle, they call it apple pie out there. I brought an apple pie from Dingle, and first thing he asked me was, "Do you want tea?" So we had tea, and we sat down, and I'm sitting in my sitting room here, and he was just sitting over there, and it was just lovely. And I actually was, if ever I'm drawing anybody by appointment, let's say, it's not easy for them. First of all, it's not easy to do it, but to actually have somebody sit there. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I'd nearly die if somebody was like drawing me. I'd be very nervous about it. But he was nervous from that point of view. I wasn't too nervous. Well, we had great chat.
Did he just sit and watch the telly, or did he chat away to you about it?
No, we were chatting away. Yeah. In fact, the first thing, I come up from Kerry, and only the previous Sunday I was going over the road, previous Saturday actually, I was going over the road in Dingle and bumped into man of the moment, Cillian Murphy. And I said, that's what happened to me just the last maybe week or so. And I was looking at his eyes, and I was saying, his blue eyes. And I said, yeah, but I saw Cillian Murphy's eyes there last week, and we were discussing his eyes and how they're so, shiny and iridescent, and why, So yeah, he was talking about that. We were both talking about that. And then it went on to just, I suppose, friendly chat about. I mean, I'm not exactly his age, but not too far away, let's say. Mm-hmm. And we discussed what fellas talk about, and we're laughing and joking and stuff. And I eventually got him to kind of pose for me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do an unnatural pose. I wanted just to, that he was relaxed. And I got easily, I suppose, 13, 14, 15 sketches and parts of sketches. And I've put them all together, and I explained to him the purpose of what I was doing. And he was fair and say, yeah, no problem. So it's just very, very normal, and,
So tell us about the exhibition, because is it 24th of January that it is opening?
Yeah, so we have tomorrow night, we have a preview, and it's opening on the 1st of February for all month of February. And I suppose of the 26 pieces, I think it's about 10 or 12 of Gerry Hutch, and parts of the trial when we were sitting. And also we have other characters, other people, I should say, like Martin Ferris, who's our local PD here, who I sat a couple of weeks ago, who sat with me. And exactly the same kind of situation. And also Tralee, who was court artist in the Supreme Court for the last, I think, 3 decades in America. He visited Tralee. We're kind of electronic friends for the last number of years. And he was visiting. His wife's family has left Ireland during the famine. So they were delighted to come back to Ireland,
Yeah.
So I met him.
So these works are original. Is there one, and then sometimes artists will print one of 20 or something like that?
No. So what I'm doing is these are all originals, and none of them will be printed. That's my plan. So they're one-offs, and that's important for me. I don't want prints. I don't want to produce prints of them.
Yeah.
They're very special. And I think it's the first time it's the first time that I've exhibited publicly my artworks from the court. And previous one was in 13 years ago. And that was an exhibition, but it was in Sweden, so it wasn't in public.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the first time. But
and so, are these going to be for sale?
Yeah, they're for sale.
Right.
For sale.
So now, here's the big question: who's going to stick a portrait of Gerry Hutch on their living room wall, apart from Gerry Hutch?
It remains to be seen.
I could buy one for the Crime World studio, maybe.
You could. Yeah, they're going for half nothing, you know. So. You could put two up.
Yeah.
But he was very interesting. He was very generous to me like that. A lot of people, like I asked a couple of people over the years, you know, what they posed, and they never got back to me and stuff. And some of them did. But this, you know, for somebody, you know, there are artists out there, and for somebody to sit for you is very, very generous. And I'm very grateful to this man and the others who participated as well. Yeah, because it's not easy, you know.
So it's called Release, and obviously that day that he was released was a very sort of high emotion, I'm sure, for him. And you know, it created a lot of talk around issues like the Special Criminal Court and the validity of it under so much criticism. You know, a lot of talk about what the state was doing, really putting him on a single murder charge. You know, it was a kind of a rarity for someone to walk free from the Special Criminal Court. It doesn't happen very often. But did you get a sense in his face? Did you see a difference in his face from when he was sitting in the dock to when he was released and he was sitting for you and it was all behind him and he was obviously moving on with a new chapter of his life?
Completely. I saw a different man entirely. And he was very, very, like, I got the impression, I don't know about you, but I got the impression in the court that he was very warm and kind of relaxed. But he had that, I don't want to kind of be unfair to him, but it was a little bit unkempt, let's put it like this. You know, he had a lovely shirt and lovely jacket on. But I felt he was kind of weather beaten a little bit. But in his house during that day, I found a very, very relaxed, very, very well, very dapper.
He cut his hair and shaved his beard, hadn't he?
Cut his hair and shaved. He was completely clean shaven. He was like a guy who'd been you know, had a very, very restful time. And he came across as being very together, and very proud of his community. And, you know, he spoke all about that. And as far as I was concerned, you know, he was as proud of his locality as, you know, I'm from Kerry and we're very proud of our own place here. And, you know, this was just very evident to me.
He's always been a bit of an anarchist, going back to the days when he was nicking handbags at the, you know, at the lights in Summerhill, and, you know, was identified as the head of the then Bugsy Malone gang. But did you get a sense that he was appreciative of how the court sort of looked on the evidence and judged him, or is he still anti-establishment?
Well, I saw him. I didn't discuss, and I didn't bring up anything about that. And trust him, I was in his sitting room, so I wouldn't. I didn't. I was very conscious of the fact it was his place. But we spoke about kind of fairly light things, really. But I got the sense that from right throughout it, that he was a kind of a doyen, say, of disestablishment, and I have my own views on establishment, but he, from a lot of people have spoken to me about this, and how did you know, what was he like to speak with and so on. I got the sense that he had that disestablishment mentality, and I respect that, you know, and as an artist, you have to be you have to, I think, you can't be part of the establishment. I don't think I'd been let in the door if I was part of the establishment. And I feel, for instance, like I feel I have access to lots of different people, and that's because I'm not part of the system. I'm not part, and I never work for anybody. And I'll do my own thing, and my art's very important to me, and I sleep it and I live it. And I think that allows me access to all kinds of different people that being part of a system or establishment or institution would prevent me from doing, So I think he may have seen that. I don't know. I hope he did. But I am absolutely grateful to him and especially to him, because the exhibition wouldn't have happened.
And
it's given me huge welcome too.
You're saying there, really, amongst that anybody who sits for you, you'd be grateful for. You're not being fawning over Gerry Hutch because he's such a well-known figure, a veteran criminal, and one of the leading figures, I suppose, that has come out of gangland over the past 5 decades. But you say that about anybody who gives you their time to allow you examine their features, and
it's very, very. I mean, the only person who examines probably is my own thinking over the years. Who probably examines a face more closely is probably a dermatologist. I have a daughter who's into that area. She's a doctor, and like. I every single minutiae of the face I study, and that's what I do. That's what I think about all the time. And it doesn't matter who, but to actually be presented to 2 weeks ago, it was Martin Ferris. Like, he's very, very well known, but I had the same level of respect for him as I had for Gerry Hutch and for Tralee, who I drew during the summer. They gave me their time. That's like, generosity to me is the highest form of human intelligence. That's just the way it is. And I don't like no interest in their history or no interest in their future. I'm interested in what they give me, and what I can do with that. That really is special to me as an artist.
So remind us again where we can view these pictures.
Yeah, so it's in St. John's in Listowel, County Kerry, but for the whole month of February. And I have some stuff up on social media.
Yeah.
But it will be in Dublin later. That's for sure. But the venue and time, that's for a later date. Nicola.
Super, Mike. Well, thanks very much. And I might drop down and see if I can see anything for the walls of the Crime World studio here.
Anytime.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Nicola.
You've been listening to Crime World, a podcast from SundayWorld.com. Produced by Ian Mullaney and edited by me, Nicola Tallant. Research assistant is Claude Amini. If you like this show and love true crime, leave us a review. Or why not download the free SundayWorld.com app for lots more stories from Ireland and across the globe.